But before we get to things going on the field in the NFL, we take care of the story that has been going on now for 3 days off the field. The very latest on this incident that happened with Tyreek Hill in the Miami Dade Police Department takes yet another turn as Hill is calling for a police officer who was involved in the incident to be fired. You saw the incident, I'm sure, on social media, and you saw the video. And of course, well, he is asking that the police officer who was involved in the incident be fired. His attorney, Julius Collins, released a statement on Tuesday night demanding the immediate termination of the escalating officer who was placed on administrative leave as a result of Sunday's incident. The officer, who's been identified as 27-year-old Danny Torres, was one of several officers when Hill was pulled over. They said that Hill was uncooperative. Body cam footage released Monday showed that after an altercation, Hill was instructed to exit his vehicle. Ultimately, he was forced to leave his vehicle, and then Torres was redirecting him, as you could say, to the ground. But needless to say, we just are hitting the tip of the iceberg with this story, as it looks like a lawsuit probably would be coming, I would guess, from Tyreek Hill. Meanwhile, what is going on with this Bet365, this company who, certainly has been around for a really long time? They had a wager on Monday night that involved Jordan Mason of the San Francisco 49ers and essentially decided to void a lot of the wagers because the odds simply changed as he became the starting running back in the game. And I want to dive more into this coming up a little bit later in the show. We will talk, of course, with Matthew Waters from Legal Sports Report. We'll dive in more and get into it as well. Also, the Miami Dolphins made an announcement just a short time ago. Raheem Mostert, their starting running back, along with Devon Achane, they both play. Mostert is going to miss Thursday night's game against the Buffalo Bills. So he is out. Mike McDaniel just made the announcement. It looks like Jalen Wright will get an opportunity to play. Achane, by the way, is questionable going into the game. He will be a game-time decision. So keep an eye on that as we do the show tomorrow. Meanwhile, the NCAA is facing another lawsuit. This is $50 million in the form of class action. These are former Michigan players who played at a very high level for the Wolverines. In fact, one of them on the cover of a college football game, Denard Robinson. You may remember him from many years ago. Also, wide receiver Braylon Edwards, they filed a class action lawsuit against the NCAA and Big Ten seeking $50 million for being wrongfully and unlawfully denied their opportunity to earn money off their NIL, their name, image, and likeness. The lawsuit says that the NCAA and the Big Ten Network have systemically exploited these iconic moments that the players created during their careers at Michigan. The lawsuit, on behalf of those who played for Michigan before 2016, of course, NILs came into play in 2021. So that is the latest in the NFL and the latest on the Miami Dolphins as well. As far as running backs are concerned, Raheem Mostert, not the only one who could potentially miss a game coming up this week. It looks like Christian McCaffrey could miss another game. His Achilles injury right now seems to be bothering him. In a conference call, Kyle Shanahan said McCaffrey would be monitored on a day-to-day basis. McCaffrey had said that if it was a playoff game, that perhaps McCaffrey could play, but Jordan Mason played so well in his absence, the thought is Mason will play yet again this week. But we'll see. You never know. I mean, we didn't know going into the Monday night game. We don't know going into this week as well. Derek Brown out for the year with a knee injury. He was placed on injured reserve. You heard about this injury coming off that game against the Saints. So Carolina picking up the pieces as well. The defendant in the Ricky Pearsall shooting, Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver for San Francisco, faces 3 criminal charges, the most of which is, of course, attempted murder. His lawyer is hoping that a video of the incident will help on that charge, and the footage is being shared with prosecutors at the moment. Meanwhile, this other case that's coming in now against Deshaun Watson is a review of a 2020 sexual assault case, and the NFL is looking into the complaint. Needless to say, this is separate from any of these other massage cases that came up previously that caused Watson to miss a lot of time. Watson's due a lot of money. Who knows if these two things are correlated, but needless to say, the NFL is looking into this latest incident as well. All right, weather is going to be a factor in the Southeast this weekend as a hurricane has its eye on Louisiana and the South. Now, meanwhile, it will not affect any games going on in all likelihood in Louisiana on Saturday because the hurricane will push through there. But South Carolina is now in focus as they take on LSU. With the Gamecocks getting 7 points, there's a chance that that game may have to be moved. Now, no word on where it will be moved to or when or anything. There's some historical context here. Sometimes they move games to Sunday morning due to a hurricane. Maybe that is the case here. Auburn senior quarterback Peyton Thorne on Tuesday said criticism after losses, especially the one to California, has included people asking him for money on Venmo. You know those Venmo requests that you've probably gotten before. People are hitting up this quarterback saying, you lost me money, send me money via Venmo. Here's a tip for anybody who's complaining about this. Make your account private. You never have to get a request ever again. Private. Easy to do. I'm private on Venmo myself. Riley Leonard, quarterback of Notre Dame, re-injured his labrum on his non-throwing shoulder against Northern Illinois, and he went to undergo an MRI on his left shoulder, and he's expected to play against Purdue. Got that out right, wrong? I don't know if I said it right. SMU's coach Rhett Lashley said Tuesday Kevin Jennings is going to start at quarterback moving forward. Preston Stone started the first 3 games of the season. Lashley said throughout the preseason he would play Stone and Jennings. So a change coming for SMU as well. Not a huge surprise there. All right, now over to Major League Baseball. Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He is back. He returned to the mound, and they were hoping, of course, that he gets fully healthy. And for the postseason, the Cubs beat the Dodgers 6-3. But the important thing is that he threw fastballs at 96 miles an hour. So Yamamoto is going to be back for the Dodgers. Only a couple of weeks to go in the season, and then he's going to start a game in the postseason. Probably game 2, game 3 would be my guess. Kyle Schwarber said the Major League Baseball season record for home runs from a leadoff hitter. He hit his 14th leadoff home run on Tuesday against the Rays. He hyperextended his left elbow, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But what an incredible record. Phillies beat the Rays 9-4. There's also a bench-clearing non-brawl in that game as well, if you want to go back and watch it on video. Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers, they're not completely out of it. I mean, any team that wins a few in a row can jump back in it. And so in addition to Kumar Rocker being called up, Jacob deGrom is coming back. Max Scherzer is coming back. Both are expected to join the Rangers rotation at least for the end of the season. We'll see if it makes a difference for them. But again, the Rangers several games back of a wild card spot. And Orioles win. Yankees lose. I mean, this is going on every night. So now Baltimore is a half game back in the American League East. We'll probably play this game for the rest of the season. All right. There's an ex-Suns employee that is seeking $60 million in damages in a discrimination complaint. And this is a former employee who is claiming discrimination and wrongful termination, seeking $60 million in damages. This is a 25-page statement that was released in August 2024. Andrea Trishan is the ex-employee. She was the Suns program manager of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She filed it with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. We'll keep an eye on that in the future. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said Tuesday there wasn't a discussion of expansion just yet, but it will be addressed at some point this season. We know that the NBA wants to add at least 2 more teams to the league in the next couple of years. Also, they expanded the coaches' challenge reviews on out-of-bounds play for the upcoming season. So that could have affected a playoff game that we saw a mistake happen this past postseason. We'll see how it helps in the regular season. And also tonight in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and the Aces, or the Fever, back at it. Aces are 3.5-point favorites. Total are 178. Fever plus 134 on the money line. And of course, the most important story from the day as we honor the lives that were lost on September 11th, 2001, a day that we should never forget. Thoughts and prayers to all of them. Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. We got Matthew Waters with us from Legal Sports Report. I mean, let's be honest, one of the bigger stories coming out of week 1 in the NFL, I mean, so many people play fantasy football these days. To sit here and ignore it is silly. This kid, Jordan Mason, who played for Christian McCaffrey in the game, it was the big story of Monday Night Football, so much so. Matthew Waters is with us. I'm playing, of course, fantasy football, 1 league in a dynasty league. I have McCaffrey. I don't have Mason. Somebody else has Mason. We're going back and forth on the trade. I mean, everyone is playing that game today. But what happened on Monday night, it took another turn that we want to get into, Matt, here on the show, because I want to dive into this deep. So all of the sportsbook have the odds here on how much Mason will play. Will he score? How many carries will he get? I mean, this is why the sportsbooks are making so much money, because they can offer all of these exotic props that nobody's interested in at all. But somebody was interested over on Bet365 on the over on Jordan Mason's rushing yards. What happened here, Matt? Did they not want to pay the odds that they initially put up? What happened?
Yeah, this is a tricky situation, Craig, basically what happened is Jordan Mason, his line for rushing yards was set at 13.5 on Bet365. And, it's not crazy that people went on and decided to bet on the backup running back for San Francisco when, we've been hearing all of last week and throughout preseason how CMC was hurt, right? So not surprised that people took this bet. The problem is that 13.5 yard line was up after CMC was announced as out. And I'm not sure how long it was up, but it was up enough that some people jumped on it as well. So you have these bettors that, they bet before or they bet after the news and they're thinking, great, we're in. Then some emails were sent out saying, look, this was an obvious error to have this line listed at minus 110. And Bet365 said that they would be paying out those bets at minus 5,000 odds. That is not really how it's supposed to work. We have situations in the United States. Obviously, we have different rules all across the board. And Bet365 is an international company first. And in international jurisdictions and in some US jurisdictions, operators are allowed to void bets that are obvious mistakes. They call them PALPs, right? That can happen if maybe a game isn't taken off after it starts, the pregame money line is still up. There's a lot of situations where that can happen. Some places let you just wipe it out. Some places like New Jersey do not let you just wipe it out. You need regulator approval to go back and change anything to do with any bets. And so we found out that on Tuesday morning, Bet365 had reversed its course, and it said, look, we're sorry for any confusion about that. I don't think anybody was confused. I think what happened was Bet365 said they were doing this, and then they changed their mind. But, for anyone under confusion, that's fine. The important thing is that these people are getting paid out for the bets that they placed. But it is a headache here for Bet365 because this isn't the first situation that they've had issues with this. And it's a bad look, right? It's just simply a bad look when you have so many sports books to choose from and you're betting with Bet365 because you know that they have a great international reputation. You get a bet that you think is good for you, right? I got one. And then it's backed out to minus 5,000 bets. It's not a good look. They got a lot of heat on social media about it. It spread very quickly. And, just hours later, they were backing out of it. So it went the right way. But it was a shame to see this from Bet365 because this isn't the first time, Craig.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, for me, super disappointing because anybody who bets on sports knows, and especially when you're making bets like this, the odds of you personally getting over on a sports book with a bad line, I mean, what is it? 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 10,000? And so the one time you get over for them making a mistake on a bad line or not adjusting it quickly, they're not going to let you take advantage of that. Horrible look, I thought, personally, for Bet365. Every once in a while you take an L, they'll build another app on all the money you lose in the future. I mean, understand it. Get with it, folks. I mean, this is the way it works. Silly company here making that decision. Meanwhile, another fine for them along the same lines in New Jersey. What happened here?
Yeah, and we just reported on this yesterday, Craig. Bet365 has now twice in the last 2 months, it was in July and then again in August, that they were fined for doing just this in New Jersey, for changing bets after the fact without New Jersey's permission. And they're not happy about that. New Jersey is not happy about that this is a consistent issue for Bet365 because we're not talking about a small sports book here that doesn't have the money or the capacity to make sure that all of their markets are correct. Bet365 is potentially the biggest regulated sports book in the world. They make money hand over fist. It's owned privately by Diane Coates in the UK. They're not hurting for money. They're not hurting for resources. And yet now they've been fined, I think it's about 550,000 over these two different fines from New Jersey for changing bets after they have been placed, and after they should have settled without New Jersey Gaming, and the Attorney General's office oversees that. We reached out to them as well, and they did not comment on whether Bet365 would be facing some kind of backlash or some kind of fine that they have to pay for doing this with Mason. Because remember, it's not that they said, well, we might. No, they sent out the email saying we are going to settle these bets this way. And so we can't say, oh, they came to their senses and decided not to do it. Well, no, they did do it. And maybe somebody said, hey, wait a minute. Remember how Jersey said that we can't do this again? And, you would love to know what those conversations, what the Slack channel looked like when in those waning hours of Tuesday morning. I don't know. If I'm New Jersey and I have specifically said now, don't do this again, and they do it again, I'm coming back with a fine, even though they decided against it. It's a black eye enough, like you said, Craig, with the Mason issue, but now we're looking at this being a repeated issue, and not just a repeated issue, but something that they did after being clearly told by one of the best regulators in the U.S., don't do it again. We will take further action against you. So we're clearly going to be watching this. It takes some time for these issues to work their way through the DGE. So I don't know when we would get an answer on it, if we ever do at all, right? I guess if we go 2 years without hearing about them getting fined, then they didn't get fined.
True.
But I can't see the DGE being too happy about this.
Yeah. I mean, what's so odd about this story is that other sports books are giving out money for bad beats, and these people get beat bad and won't accept it. Just so strange to see this. And you're right, public relations is a big part of this. They get an F for that. All right, let's talk real quick. We got a minute to go here. Some stock updates, some target updates here on a sports book. Give us the latest here. Sorry, running out of time. 30 seconds.
Yeah, you know what? Head over to LSR to check this out. We touch on the note.
Okay.
Basically, some of the gaming stocks are being tweaked down by analysts over consumer spending habits, but the NFL season should really help the digital portions of those stocks, is the gist of it, Craig.
Yeah, we ran out of time. So head over to LegalSportsReport.com to read about that story and a whole lot more. Matt, thanks for the insight on the show today. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, sir.